There's a new twist tonight in the diplomatic standoff between the US and China over prominent dissident Chen Guangchong. Chen has left the US embassy where he'd been holed up for 6 days after fleeing from house arrest. He's reportedly been escorted to a Bejing hospital by the US ambassador and has been reunited with his family. Well, joining us now from Beijing is our China correspondent Stephen McDonald. Stephen, do we know if Chen is still in the hospital and that fundamentally whether he's done this voluntarily?
Well, what a dramatic series of events we've seen in recent times here from Chen Guangchong. Blind activist who exposes forced abortions, ends up in jail for 4 years, house arrest for 1.5 years, escapes from dozens of captors to, as you say, spend 6 days inside the US embassy, then tonight leaving the embassy and going to Chaoyang Hospital. We understand he was actually accompanied by the American ambassador to go and receive treatment at the hospital, and there was you can imagine a big contingent down there to try and see what's going on. We had police checking everybody's ID, a lot of pressure there, and we're all trying to catch a glimpse of Chen Guangchong somehow or other inside the hospital, but to no avail. We heard from one hospital staff member who said he may well in fact be there for several days, but mind you, we also saw the US Embassy car leave with someone in the back seat who also could have been Chen Guangchong, so it's hard to tell for sure. But at some point or other, if he's not still there, he was inside the hospital there. Now, all sorts of people are descending on the hospital, including, apart from journalists, supporters and human rights lawyers. And one of those, Jiang Tianyong, actually spoke to reporters, and here's some of what he had to say.
Of course, what I'd like is for Chen Guangchong to go to the United States, because his whole family has already given enough for China. His health also needs diagnosis, and I believe his children have been seriously psychologically damaged by always being under this shadow. But he himself has expressed many times that he does not want to leave China because he believes that he is completely free, and there is no legal impediment that should make him lose that freedom.
So, Steve, an incredible embarrassment for the Chinese authorities. How have they responded?
Well, if Washington thought that this was all going to be healed in a flash after Chen Guangchong left the embassy, it's dead wrong. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has issued a blistering statement tonight, basically damning the US for getting involved in its internal affairs, calling for an official apology from the United States, and that those at the embassy who are involved in helping Chen Guangchong be punished. What's more, they want to guarantee from the US that they won't do this ever again. So China is most unhappy at this.
And yet it's hard to imagine the US authorities handing him back over to the Chinese without some assurances behind the scenes. Has some kind of deal been done?
I think there's definitely been some sort of deal. You're right, there's no way they would have just handed him over, but they also wanted to get this sorted out before this big summit starts tomorrow. Now, according to a statement from one US official tonight, part of the deal seems to be that Chen Guangchong won't go back to his old village. In fact, he won't even go back to Shandong. His whole family is going to move to a safe location inside China, and that he will be allowed to study here, which is something he's wanted to do, to actually study the law. And Hillary Clinton even said in a written statement tonight that she thought that, that was a great thing for him to be able to do. So it does look like there has been some sort of an agreement which has allowed them to, go along with letting him leave the embassy grounds.
Stephen, we'll have to leave you there. We thank you very much for coming to talk to us tonight.